Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. Visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Okay, so today I'm going to show off my favorite handle holding fixture thingy. Okay, you know, as a knife maker, you've got to work on, I mean, you're making knives, right? So sometimes you need to hold the handle so that you can work on the blade. Sometimes you got to hold the blade so that you can work on the handle. Work positioning and holding is an awful lot of times about half or 3/4 of the battle of whatever step that you're doing on something, right? I mean, if you're just if you're trying to hold on to something at the same time that you're trying to work on it, a lot of times you know, things just aren't so good, right? So being able to hold different parts of a knife really helps out in different steps to be able to do good work safely. All right, so this right here is about the best fixture I have found for working on knife handles. This one right here is designed to complement my Wilton rotating head vise, and we'll talk a little bit about that once we get to the vise. But to make this one, you first you kind of wonder if your boy's been in here and he's grabbed your adjustable wrench. So we'll just grab my pair of pliers right here. You just loosen these two bolts. Well, actually, first of all, so you got two bolts threaded into two nuts that have been welded to the side of a piece of pretty thick walled pipe. Okay, so we loosen those up. We pull this knife that was in there out. And then we pull the doohickeys out, and then we can take a look at the overall fixture. So this is just a piece of really heavy walled 1.5" pipe. Yeah, 1 5/8", somewhere around there. And the size of that really doesn't matter. I mean, this is mostly for you know, everyday carry type knives, neckers, hunting knives, you know, anything up to a 1.25" wide blade will fit in this. If I was using something like this on, you know, fancier chef's knives, something like that, I just grab a bigger piece of pipe, you know, and make it like that. So what you do first is you drill 2 holes in the pipe. You see up in there? Yep. Okay, so you drill 2 holes in the pipe so that the bolts can go through. Then what you do, I mean, or you could drill and tap this, but that's not really a whole lot of thread to give you a whole lot of holding power. So you grab bolts and nuts, you know, that match each other, and then go ahead and weld the nuts onto the pipe. Use crappy welds, it helps, you know. And then go ahead and, you know, just run them bolts through there. Protect your threads when you're welding, and that way you don't get splatter on the bolt, and then it won't, you know, run down as far as you might like it. Drill a hole in the end so that you can use an old piece of coat hanger so that you can hang the whole jig up in case you got to do an oil finish on something. Okay, now the next thing you do is you grab 2 pieces of, this is 1 by 3/16 steel. I don't even know what kind of steel this is. And then face it with some leather. Just grab some barge cement, you know, and glue the leather to the steel. And now you've got, you know, your holder things. Now back your bolts out. Okay, now take your sandwich looking thing there, put the whole thing in, and there it goes. Now take your knife that you're working on, slip it in between the leather whatchamacallit. Run your bolts down. And then just snug them up. You could weld little T-handles on this too if you wanted to. I mean, you don't really have to tighten down really hard because, well, you just don't. I mean, you just snug these up and that'll be enough. And this usually holds the blade really strong. Now we'll go ahead and go to the bench vise. Okay, so that fixture is designed to be used with this bench vise, right? Most bench vises, if you unlock that thing, you know, will tilt left and right, right? Okay, this one is really cool in that you undo that and the head tilts. You can sit here and you can spin that thing around all you want, right? So, since this tilts, and since it has a second set of jaws right here, these are V jaws meant for holding pipe. Just so happens this is a piece of pipe. It grabs a hold of it. Now, this particular vise, there's two ways to lock this rotation in the vise head. Okay, one is you loosen this up and then it can rotate. The second way is to tighten that lever on the other side, or screw, whichever. So if this is loose and this rotates, the second you grab, now it won't rotate anymore. That movement you're seeing is the bottom. Okay, so that makes it really handy. So now let's say you're working let's get rid of this particular knife here, because this is, I mean, it's really nice for like you know, like three-piece knives, you know, where you've got the blade and you've got a handle scale and you've got a handle scale. But where it really excels, this is a really old, one of my first ever hidden tang knives. Where this fixture really excels is in guard shaping, okay? And that's a thicker blade, so let's put that in there. Okay, so you want to work on the back of the handle, work on it here. You want to work on just the side of it, work on here. I mean, you can adjust this, I don't know where I picked up the oil, you know, 365 degrees this way, right? Okay, but then you can also lift it up and lift it up. One of the big keys to getting a really nice, comfy feeling guard is to make sure that the guard feels good on your finger. Well, the easiest way to do that is to be able to get up in here and work on the thing, right? So now we can clamp that thing up just like this. I don't have one right at the moment, but you can grab a dowel and a piece of sandpaper and get right up in here and really work any portion of the underside of that guard that you want. And if you need to rotate it to the other side, okay, see where I'm going with all this? Okay, now, if you don't have a vise like this, let's set this back to 0. Let's grab a quick drink right here. Oh, I don't know if you guys seen my Minion coffee cup. My wife found that for me. And she knows I like Minions, so now I have a new Minion in the shop. He doesn't really help out a whole lot except for hold my coffee and water. But he's pretty cool anyways. Okay, so if you do not have a vise like this that's got the rotating head, first of all, go get one. These things with the rotating head is just, they're just amazing. They really are. I mean, they're so much handier than a bench vise that does not have the rotating head. And I think I did, in one of my last videos, I did a review on this vise, and it was like 150 bucks, something like that. 173 something, or somewhere around in there. I've been using this vise for over 10 years now, and it's an amazing vise, and that rotating head feature is totally worth the $175, right? Now, if you are one of the unlucky ones that does not have a vise like this, and you still want to use a fixture like this, okay, you're going to have to go an extra step. You're still going to have to build this section right here, but then you're going to have to find a piece of pipe that this fits inside of, okay? Preferably fairly close. Now, it doesn't have to be the whole, it doesn't have to be that long. I mean, it can only be that long if you want it to be, right? But you're going to find a piece of pipe that this fits in fairly close, and then you're going to weld like a T-bracket on it. Like weld a piece of just straight up steel on the end of that, or on the side of that pipe, just like this, okay? But that's going to fit over the top of this. So you weld this to the piece of pipe that fits over the top of this. Then you'll take this tab right here and you'll clamp that up in the vise, okay? Then you'll put another one of these set screws in this over pipe, I guess you would call it. And then you can loosen up that screw and then rotate it this way. Okay? If you make this piece right here that's attached to the piece that goes over this piece, if you make it long or tall enough, I guess you would call it, then instead of clamping it square, you can kind of clamp it at angles a little bit. Okay? Or even come around the other way and clamp it like this. Alright? But that seems like an awful lot of hassle when you can grab yourself an infinitely adjustable bench vise to be able to do the same thing. Anyway, yeah, I guess that's about it. If you wanted to make a vise like a knife vise like this one that would mount to a bench, I suppose you could, but I don't think that there'd be any real advantage over something like that versus, the 2x2 with the slot cut in it and a C-clamp. Because this is nice and square, it'll bolt down to a bench top or screw it to a bench top or something like that. And then typically speaking, this is the only one of these that I have. Because usually if I'm, like, let's say I build a hidden tang hunter, that's got a guard on it, and I'm going to do an oil finish on it later, well then I'll go ahead and work on the handle like this, get the handle to where I want it to, and then go ahead and transfer this knife to one of those 2x2s for the oil finish portion. Because those things right there, it's just holding, at that point all I need to do is hold the knife in a safe place so that the oil finish can dry. I don't really need it to hold it for work holding purposes. So anyway, so that's how I built my blade vise, handle vise, whatever you want to call it. So if you want to build your own, that's how I built mine. So again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. Visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.